Yuka Royer is here in studio. Yuka, good to have you with us. The feud has been playing out in real time over the past few hours. The Elon Musk, Donald Trump row is escalating. Tesla's shares, meanwhile, have taken a hit.
Yeah, the electric car maker's stock plunged 15% on Wall Street, having its worst day since March. This as Donald Trump threatened to terminate government contracts and subsidies given to Elon Musk's companies. Just days after leaving his role as a special government employee, the tech billionaire started attacking the president's signature tax cut legislation called the Big Beautiful Bill that's making its way through Congress. He lambasted it as a disgusting abomination that would massively increase federal deficits and openly called on US senators to kill the bill. Now, Donald Trump was initially quiet on this, but on Thursday he said Musk had gone crazy and that his attacks were motivated by a proposed elimination of consumer tax credits for electric cars under that bill. Shares in Trump Media and Technology Group also fell by around 8%, as you can see. Wall Street's three main indexes also dropped after starting the day rising mildly. Investors are also watching how Musk's comments may actually sway votes in the Senate as the bill passed the House with the narrowest of margins last month.
Meanwhile, then, the US president finally talking with his Chinese counterpart and agreeing to launch a fresh round of talks.
Yeah, they held a phone call that lasted 1 hour, and Donald Trump said on social media afterwards that it led to a positive conclusion on trade. The two leaders invited each other to their respective countries at a future date. This just a day after the US president admitted it was very difficult to negotiate with the Chinese leader. In recent days, the US accused China of not easing its export curbs on rare earth minerals as agreed under the 90-day truce reached last month. Beijing criticized Washington's recent moves, such as tightening curbs on chip exports and revoking visas for Chinese students.
Meanwhile, here in France, oil giant TotalEnergies has been taken to court in a landmark case over greenwashing.
Well, three environmental groups sued the company back in 2022, accusing it of misleading consumers with ads that exaggerated its climate commitments. According to the lawsuit, the energy giant emphasized its investments into renewable energy in promoting its goal of going carbon neutral by 2050, while expanding production of fossil fuels. A wave of similar suits have been filed around the world in recent years, but this is the first of its kind in France. Luke Schrager has more.
Did TotalEnergies mislead the public over just how green its operations are? Yes, according to three environmental groups who initially brought the case against the oil and gas giant 3 years ago, and which has finally gone to trial.
Total ran a major communications campaign, notably when they changed their name from Total to TotalEnergies, trying to make people believe that they had become a multi-energy company. But the reality is that 98% of Total's energy production still comes from hydrocarbons. More than 70% of their investments are still in hydrocarbons.
That campaign dates back to May 2021 and advertised a goal of going carbon neutral by 2050, all while continuing oil and gas production and promoting gas as the fossil fuel with the lowest greenhouse gas emissions. Total insists its messaging was part of what it called its institutional communication, and as such shouldn't be subject to consumer law. But for the environmental watchdogs, though, it's a clear case of false advertising.
In law, what can be included in commercial communication, particularly direct advertising, and what can be said on websites and social networks is very broad. And here we're providing a whole range of elements to show that there was indeed communication on social networks, on the commercial site, and in the press, on TV, and so on.
It's not the first time a court in Europe will have ruled on environmental matters, with judges ruling against airlines KLM in 2024 and Lufthansa in March over misleading the public over their efforts to reduce the environmental impact of flying. It is, however, the first time a French court has heard such a case against a fossil fuel company.
Finally, Yuka, the Brazilian president is here in Paris at the moment. He's making a renewed push for a contentious trade deal.
Well, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva urged Emmanuel Macron, his counterpart, to back a free trade agreement between the European Union and South America's Mercosur bloc. It was first agreed in 2019, but was put on hold over EU demands for environmental safeguards. Brussels finalised the deal last December, but it still needs member states to ratify it. Along with Poland, Austria and the Netherlands, France is fiercely opposed to the text in its current form. Farmers have repeatedly staged protests across Europe in recent months, arguing it will create an unfair competition as South American exporters would not be subject to the same strict norms and regulations as in the EU.
I would like to tell you that I will not leave the presidency of Mercosur without concluding an agreement with the European Union. And so, dear Mr. Macron, open your heart a bit to the possibility of concluding this deal with our dear Mercosur.
Yes, we want to open up. We want more trade. But we have to respect our farmers because if not, Europe's effort to defend the climate will be for nothing. It might as well just close down all its industries and the entire agricultural sector. If it were to import things produced through worse practices than at home and put constraints on local farmers who would end up no longer having a market. So we have to improve this text.
And that's it from the business desk.
Yuka, thanks so much for all of that. Yuka Royer there with all the day's business news.